Hello. Happy Friday, guys. It's your boy Vlhadus coming at you. It is usual, a little slightly late. Friday time frame. I don't know if this stream is going to be a long one today. I got family coming over this weekend, so I'm going to help my wife after we put the baby to sleep, kind of clean up the house. But I feel like, God, is it just me, or does it feel like Ash's content and the community feel like blah? I've been into several Discords, talked to a lot of people, and everyone's sentiment right now is just like, now that we have like everything that we want, like, 'cause it was always like, when's Alpha 2? When's Alpha 2? And now that we know when Alpha 2 is, it's just quiet. Like, it's quiet, like, all around. Like, I don't know what's going on. Burns, dude, how's it going, man? Good to see you, dude. Nemesis, dude. PC Part Picker is goated. Honestly, I need to build my computer. Like, I've been playing War Within, the new World of Warcraft expansion, and my computer just struggles, dude. Like, in certain parts. Like, I hear my computer, like, kind of kick into overdrive and shit, and I'm like, it's just wow, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's crazy. Let me see. Guilds are planning right now, dude. Yeah, I know there's a lot of guilds planning and formulating their, opening of the gates of Alpha 2. I just feel like myself, it's kind of hard to plan when you're only gonna be able to play for 3 days, right? The one I joined has things being laid out. Yeah, most of the guild leaders that I've talked to are trying to utilize those 3 days as efficiently as possible to get a lot of the ones I've talked to all about professions. They want to scour the entire profession system and see exactly what this profession system is all about, because that is going to be the beating heart of Ashes. I mean, everybody wants gear. Everybody always wants the best gear. And if crafters are going to make the best shit, then knowing the ins and outs of the professions is going to be immeasurable. And if there are things about the profession system or crafting specifically that are not at a good spot or need tweaks or just needs feedback, that's what these guilds, want to provide. I know myself, as someone who really doesn't care about professions in a lot of other MMORPGs, I really want professions to be really good in Ashes. What do you mean by Gen Z? I mean Gen Z. I think anywhere between 1997 to 2003 is considered Gen Z. So, I don't know. Okay, how you doing? Good to see you. I'm just winging it out here. Let me see. So yeah, there's a lot I know that people want to kind of pick apart when it comes to the Alpha 2. So we can talk about like professions. There's also classes, right? Classes, I think, are going to be one of those things that is going to change probably the most. Probably the most. Maybe not base classes, maybe not abilities, but I think class design is going to change radically. Dude, I was born 1999, and I'm one of those few Gen Z people who don't want this fast food style of gaming, and I want the Ashes philosophy. Well, you know, talking to several other content creators and stuff like that, and also speaking to other Gen Zers, there's just a lot of Gen Z that really almost need convenience. And I mean, when I say need, it's because the things that they talk about in terms of MMORPGs, they want that kind of account wide zip zap, you know, go from here to there in 2 seconds kind of thing. And all of that is convenience. And, you know, again, these are the same Gen Zers that also said New World was a walking simulator because you couldn't zip zap everywhere. There were no flying mounts. There were no mounts at all. You were just walking everywhere. And depending on when you're going to earn your mount in Ashes of Creation may be considered to be a walking simulator. So it's going to be very interesting. And again, this is all stuff that I've heard from Gen Zers. So let me see. Elhor is too old to be Gen Z, full boomer. People whose first console was an Xbox 360 is what I hear with Gen Z. Yeah, absolutely. I'm an elder millennial. I can't be bothered to know where the boundaries are for later gens. Let me see. Even I said that though. Maybe I'm spoiled. The problem was there wasn't anything to do between point A and point B. Yeah, I think well, honestly, I think the stuff you had to do between point A and point B was boring, and then it was just running back and forth, right? This is something that we've said a lot about Ashes of Creation for them not to do. My daughter is Gen Z and she'll be playing with me. By force or by choice? Like you said, is she playing with you because she wants to, or is she playing with you because you need a healer? Right? So there's you know, with our boy Dr. Burns, I literally, you know, because I used to watch his content like not streaming, and when I watched it on stream, I felt like there was just so much to talk about with these questions that I'm basically just force inserting myself in these seasons now. So not only are you going to hear, you know, Rorier, and you're going to hear Jay Oddity and Richie and Annie, you're also going to hear me too, because I need to answer these questions as well, right? So this is the little bit of the I wouldn't say behind the scenes, but maybe just force inserting that. Yeah, season 3.5. I like that. Season 3.5. You see, we have playing MMORPGs together for a while, and she does not play a healer. I do. Okay, awesome. Let me see. Those of us in the Gen X jumped at MMORPG bandwagon because of the promise of a living game world, but the technology was not there. So the newer MMORPGs had all the world stuff stripped out. Yeah, I think that's where it kind of devolved, and it evolved in other ways. And the ways it devolved cut out the people that were there for like the living, breathing world. That's why a lot of people have played WoW, but a lot of them have stopped, because WoW's transformed into something that just doesn't appeal to a lot of people. Again, World of Warcraft at its peak had 12 million people. And, you know, no king rules forever, right? We know that. But at the same time, because MMORPGs are very much still played, I mean, we can think of World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2, Final Fantasy 14, ESO. You combine all these player bases together across the world, there's still millions of people who play MMORPGs. This isn't a small genre, you know, but again, the reason why this genre hasn't thrived is because there hasn't been an MMORPG to give back that old school feel, but yet with the new technology, the new shiny stuff, right? That's basically it. By the way, welcome back. You Ashes hiatus. Laura, miss you. Aw. Agreed about WoW. That is what I want when I was young and believe. A living world that just is a game. I want that today. I think they're all waiting for an MMORPG worth making time to play. Well, and this is the flack that I've always gotten. And again, anytime I've ever had anybody in my 1v1, I always ask them the question, how long do you think Alpha 2 is going to be? And I always got question or answers similar, like, oh, I think maybe a year, longest 2 years, like if everything goes wrong. And now I've always said 2 to 3 years. You guys are like, you guys know me. You guys know I've said this. Now I am more leaning to 3 to 4. 3 being very optimistic. Everything goes smooth. Hardly any reiterations of systems or any systems that have to be completely redone from the ground up, similar to how combat was from Alpha 1 going into Alpha 2. Combat was completely revamped. Imagine the mage having to be completely redone. The mage it's not fun. Like if we go and look at these abilities and the interactions between them, and we go look at the tree and the class just doesn't work, that is going to require a redo, or like a foundational redo of the class. And that's just an example, right? And you have to think of other systems in Ashes of Creation, maybe certain professions, certain profession classes, other smaller, more ancillary systems, maybe systems that are built into the node system. Those systems can also face those kind of revisions or complete reworks. If that's the case, then 4 years is more than in line, which is 2028. Let me see if there's one thing I can agree on here is the fact that devs are going to have to work a lifetime once the floodgates are open. Well, the other thing, again, and people are like, oh, but then if it takes another 4 years, you know, then it's like, you know, we don't want to wait. And it's like, but yes, you do. Because let me tell you what will happen if Ashes needed 4 years, but they decided to just release it in 2. We're going to get New World 2.0 all over again. That's literally what'll happen. Wizzy, thank you so much for the sub. Man, you're at 11 months. Holy crap. That is crazy. Currently on a 9-month streak. Dang. That's crazy, Wizzy. Thank you so much. Thank you. Dude, no one complains when Throne of Liberty released after more than a decade. Oh, they did. 100% people were complaining. Now, people completely forgot about Throne of Liberty. Let's just be honest here. Throne of Liberty never had a community. Let's just speak that very bluntly. Ashes of Creation, before the game has even been out, has had a community since 2017. Throne of Liberty's never had like a community waiting and talking about the systems in the game. Like, you know, so really it was just out of the zeitgeist of the MMO genre at that point. But the thing is that people were like, oh my God, they cooked in this game for 12 years and this is what they made? Gross. Now, this is why I've always said, because this game is now, it's going to be full transparency. Once we get in the Alpha 2, it's all off. The gloves are off. I can talk about this game. I can talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, you know, the very ugly, you know, whatever it is, right? I can say it all and I can stream it all. And I think that's a good thing. I think the fact that, you know, there are systems in Ashes of Creation that aren't going to be perfect. They're going to be very rough. And that is why I'm here to test and leave feedback. You know, this is the same thing of like, you always talk about like the, you know, white knights and stuff like that, right? A white knight would basically say, oh, this system, like the world boss, like Firebrand, it's perfect. Firebrand was utter perfection. It was probably the best designed world boss. Intrepid, please don't change a thing. It was perfect. Like, what are you going to do at that point, right? Like, again, you're not, and you're also, you have to just be honest, right? And there could be people that honestly have that opinion, but I still think there's always room for improvement. And honestly, for me, Firebrand was actually a great foundation, which I've already talked about. You can go watch my other stream if you want to go hear my thoughts on Firebrand. But again, that was just an example. But there are going to be things in Ashes of Creation that are going to rub you the wrong way, even though you may be all excited about this game. That happens, okay? You know, I was talking earlier about hot takes, about like, what are people's hot takes about Ashes of Creation? Like, what is something about Ashes of Creation you don't like? You know, and there were some people that couldn't even think of anything. And I'm like, really? Like, out of everything you know about this game, which a lot of people I talk to know a lot about Ashes of Creation, you can't think of one thing that like you think would be a problem, you know? And to me, it's like, I want to get in there before I say this is actually a problem. Now, there are potential issues that I see, which I've been very blunt about the 64 class system and the augment system. I think that is a huge potential issue that Ashes of Creation could face. Let me see. Hey, Vlad and chat. How's everyone doing tonight? We're doing good, man. Dude, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. Mag, dude, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Evie, how's it going? I hope you're having a great Friday. I had forgotten about Ashes after the Kickstarter until the Lazy Peon video reminded me about it. Oh, man. That's awesome. I'm Gen Z. I think if they liked RPGs in general, they'll play Ashes. I think a lot of people are going to play Ashes of Creation, but it's not just about playing. It's about, is this going to be people's new home? If your home was RuneScape, World of Warcraft, ESO, Guild Wars 2, and you've been playing, let's say, those MMORPGs for maybe 10, 15, 20 years, is Ashes of Creation enough of an MMORPG for you to leave that game forever? I would, maybe not forever, but like basically just relocate into a new home. You're going to put up that game for the next 5, 10, 15 years and say, I'm going to devote all my time in Ashes of Creation. How many people are going to do that? Because that is what Ashes needs to have, like a very solid fan base and a very solid base in general for Intrepid to be a company and thrive, right? Let me see. I don't mind waiting more years for a full release. What I don't like is the idea of having Alpha 2 up for that amount of time. Well, the thing is that I understand your point. I don't like that either. But what I would hate even more is the game releasing because we're being impatient and now it's going to launch, you know, Lazy Peon's going to make a video talking negatively about it. You're going to have Josh Drive Hayes, Asmongold, all the big MMORPG people, and it's going to be up and down within a month. And now Ashes of Creation is struggling to have players. I hate that more than just the Alpha 2 being out for, you know, available for 4 years. And the other thing you have to take into consideration too is the fact that there's going to be videos from myself and other major content creators, not just the, you know, small creators we have here like myself, you know, just all the current Ashes of Creation content creators. I'm talking about like the big kahunas, right? The people that have like 100,000, 1 million subs on YouTube. You're going to get those people during the course of Alpha 2, during each phase or major patch, talk about what's being added to the game. How is the game do, like the state of Ashes of Creation in 2025? You're going to have those videos. And people that are going to be paying attention to this product and seeing the improvements, seeing where it was from this month to that month or this phase to that phase, if they keep seeing improvements and steady just W's from Intrepid, the hype is going to keep increasing. But also what's going to happen is those people are going to be like, okay, Ashes is still on a good course, or Ashes is still going good. You know, development's going good. The live streams are going good. The feedback is going good. I'm not going to buy Alpha 2, but I am still paying attention to this game. That's what's going to increase as we keep going into the alpha. Now, will there be people to be impatient after a year, 2 years? Absolutely. And there is nothing we can do about it. Like, absolutely nothing we can do about it. The amount of layers the game will have are Force and A2 being possibly 2 years plus. Oh, yeah. Like I said, 3 to 4. What up, Osiris? How you doing, man? Good. Happy Friday. My biggest fear was always been too many layers and cascading failures, or a single patch breaking multiple layers. Yeah. And that's going to happen too. And I'd rather that happen in the Alpha 2 than in the live launch of the game. I hope there will be a gap between Alpha and Beta where the servers are shut down to focus on developing the game and not worry about the Alpha server stagnating. I mean, I really don't know how they're going to handle the alpha and beta servers. The only thing I want Intrepid to do is cook. Put your nose to the grindstone and cook. Get these systems out, get everything fleshed out, and just do what you guys can to make this game as efficiently and effectively as possible. Because if they do that, whatever the time frame is, I'm not saying as quickly as possible. I'm saying being efficient and being what was the other word I said? Jesus, I totally derailed in my head. But just I think being efficient is enough. And I again, there was people I talked to. I mean, I talked to so many people because I love getting different perspectives. And there's some people that were like, well, this game has been in development for 7 years and this is what they have to show for it. And again, I agree. It's been out for 7 years. And again, there could be things that Intrepid faced, which back in 2020, I would say probably 2019 when APOC was out, there was a huge thing that Steven basically went on and said, hey, we have to kind of fix this thing in our actual MMO game because we discovered it making APOC. And if we don't go and fix that, that's going to be a big thing. And we know that was like a year delay, right? The other thing I think caused another big delay too was the transition to UE5. I watched a video of a game project that got ported from UE4 to UE5 because I wanted to know from a developer's point of view, and there's videos on YouTube you can go and watch, of what is that process like. Now, this was just an RPG. It wasn't an MMORPG, so it wasn't like a lot of moving parts. Now, MMORPGs have a shit ton of moving parts. However, with UE5, depending on where you were in UE4, there could be some assets that are just completely unusable. They're like black void. So in the transition to UE5, now you're in the new engine, but these assets are basically toast. So you as the company or as the person making the game have to redo those art assets now in UE5. Just think and go back. If you've been watching Ashes of Creation since 2017, how many assets have we seen? Tables, chairs, just world items, boulders, forests, trees, anything and everything you can think that is an actual asset. That alone can cause a huge backup in a delay, right? Especially if you've done all these assets and then you have to do a huge portion of them again because UE5 didn't recognize them. That's fucked. But again, I do this research because I want to educate myself. Now, the vast majority of people that are either in the Ashes community or just a part of the MMORPG community that are just slightly looking at Ashes of Creation isn't going to do that kind of research. They're just going to be like, oh, they converted to UE5. Awesome. Cool. Now it looks better. They're on a better engine. But they don't know what the process was like. Hell, just code changes? Yeah. Dude, and again, that's just an example. I just wanted to give you guys a singular example. There is other major things that could happen to your project going from UE4 to UE5. But again, if you want to educate yourself, go and watch those videos. But I think Steven and the rest of the team agreed that it was worth it. Because UE5 is going to be the hottest engine now, probably for the next 7 years until UE6 comes out. So it was a decision that they didn't take lightly. They probably knew the ramifications, and I'm sure the developers that, he hired knew those ramifications and probably educated Steven on them. And, oh my God, Waxy, you got a first? No one got the first. Dang. Wow. That's really rare. Fupo, how you doing, man? Happy Friday. You see, I definitely think the UE5 port was close to starting over. Me personally, when I saw that video, I think they started over. I think they just started I think what they did was they got everything in UE4 and all the work and seen if they could migrate stuff over, what could be migrated. And I think if it was greater than a certain percentage, they just said, okay, let's just start over. Like, I think that's honestly what was going on. That's what I think, personally. Stiqueno, dude, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for the raid. What is going on, guys? We're actually just talking about, you know, Ashes of Creation, you know, in general, like stuff like Alpha 2, how long were we waiting for Alpha 2, yada, yada, yada. Pockets, Rockta, dude, how's everyone going? Hope you're all enjoying having a happy Friday. They kind of act like they started building the world around UE5 restart. That's very potentially what could have happened. Again, UE5 does, however, like, if you go look at what UE5 is capable of, like, you can make an area. Again, this is why scams are so prevalent, because you can go and make like a biome in a couple of hours, like literally like a whole ass biome, like a huge, as a biome as big as Riverlands within a couple of hours. Now, filling that biome with like trees and foliage and unique assets, now that's a whole other thing. But this is why I always thought Quinfall was an utter scam, because to me, it's not impressive by just, having a, you know, of a pan of an area and then a different area and a different area, because UE5 is capable of it so easily, right? But the thing that I've seen about Ashes of Creation, every asset that I've seen is all unique. It's not stuff that was just bought in the UE5 store, right? So I'm sure there was probably a lot of assets that probably hopefully did get converted to UE5. There's probably a big bunch of them that probably weren't. I don't know. Again, I have no knowledge of this, but again, just hearing and talking about or seeing that video really opened my eyes to be like, man, maybe they did start over. I don't know. But again, I would have rather them start over on UE5 than stick with UE4 personally. That's just me. So let's get into this video. It's our boy, our copium doctor here, our boy Dr. Burns. Yeah, it's better for longevity. Absolutely it is. Absolutely. I have not gone around to watching this video, so I really want to watch it. I'm sure it's a banger like always, but the conversations to ensue, right? Let's get into it.
What would make Gen Z or Gen Alpha pick up Ashes?
Pay to win microtransactions, because that's the world that they grew up in.
Honestly, if it's a quality game,
You're getting wrecked by 13-year-olds. These kids go hard.
Do you know what? I don't like young people.
Anything that comes out now will be miles, leaps and bounds ahead of whatever they're currently playing.
This is gonna sound bad, but
Oh, let's do this.
Ashes of Creation has a lot of old school MMO design features. The question is, will kids enjoy it? I asked our creators what they thought, so please enjoy. What would make Gen Z or Gen Alpha pick up Ashes?
You know, I saw you send me that question.
Yes, I'm gonna put it up a little louder.
Gen Z and Gen Alpha, and I was like, I'm just assuming young people, right?
Yes.
I don't actually know for sure. I just assume they're young people. And you know what? I don't like young people. They're too young and they shouldn't be allowed to exist. But, you know, assuming that they do exist, which they do, most of them at the minute aren't playing MMOs, right? So when I look at my analytics, most of the people are middle-aged, if not a little bit higher. So
Dude, most Gen Zers that I know are playing League of Legends. Like, most Gen Zers like the in and out kind of games. Like, whether it's League of Legends, Apex, Call of Duty, they want to be able to go into a lobby, play for a couple of minutes, like 10, 15 minutes, and then pop out. Like, that's the majority. Like, I would say the majority of Gen Zers that I talk to do that. So
what will make them play Ashes of Creation? Peer pressure, for one. And I think, you know, the MMOs have got a bit of a bad rep at the minute that they are only for old people. But I think the only reason that's the case, or one of the reasons that is the case, is because the young people have not really had a good MMO to even try. They've not really experienced it. It's not just that the glory days have gone. The good MMOs have...
I will say, though, in one guild that I know that is full of Gen Zers, when New World came out, all of them are playing New World. They want to play an MMORPG, but I think they don't want to play a shitty one. So we'll have to wait and see.
not come out, right? In the last 10 years, there's not really been a quality, well-made MMO. There's been a couple of handful ones that have done all right and stuff like that, but nothing really massive. So a good MMO for a start will get people to play it of any age. You know, there was a lot of people playing WoW when we were younger, right?
Absolutely.
In their teenage years. But obviously, the attention span, and I don't want to sound like a proper boomer, they're playing other games, right? They are playing Fortnite and Valorant and all this kind of stuff, and that makes sense. That's sort of one of the reasons that MMOs have devolved a little bit, is because you can get various experiences that you got from an MMO in a more consumable, bite-sized manner. But I still believe that there's a world of people, including younger people, who want to lose themselves in an imaginary, special place in a game like Ashes of Creation. Whether or not Ashes of Creation will be the one that does it, I don't know. We'll find out, hopefully.
What would make Gen Z or Gen Alpha pick up Ashes?
I think they already will.
Yep.
I think just the sheer challenge of it. See, we paint a bad picture, right? We say that the younger generation doesn't want to work hard, or they don't want to do this, or they don't want to do that. Man, there's a reason you can't log on to Fortnite anymore, dude, and it's because you're getting wrecked by 13-year-olds. These kids go hard, and they're gonna do the same thing in Ashes of Creation.
Dude, there was like a teenager on Fortnite. You know that one audio clip of that it's like a little kid saying, "Get shit on, get shit on, get shit on." He had that like on his loop because I saw it on TikTok. It was hilarious, and it was a teenager literally acting like a 9-year-old in Fortnite, wrecking people, wrecking them, and it was just the funniest shit. So, I mean, again, these teenagers, if they're going to play a game, they're going to go hard. And again, League of Legends is not a casual game. You can play League of Legends super casual. I admit that. But most people, especially teenagers and everything like that, they're going into ranked games. That's why every time because I never played League of Legends, but every time when I talk to Pockets or whatever, and we're like, oh, if we're going to play League of Legends, it's never ranked because rank is toxic as hell. Right? There's a reason for that because you have a lot of tryhards.
It's going to take some getting used to, but as soon as they see their favorite streamer, and that's the trendy thing, right? As soon as they see their favorite streamer playing the game,
oh, absolutely,
they're gonna pick it up.
Absolutely.
Like look at some of the best PvPers in the world. They're all young kids. Esports are all young kids. If you provide them the challenge, I think they will show up. And that's the thing is this is their golden age of gaming. We give them a hard time because games today they like to hold your hand and I've had this conversation so many times is I give credit to games because we are not the target audience anymore. By making these games easy or microtransactions or whatever, we're not the target audience. We were the game's target audience 20 years ago. That's why the games were the way they are. They have changed. They've evolved. I cannot discredit any games today for getting that 8-year-old kid, giving him the same happiness and excitement that I got playing Zelda when I was 8 years old. I can't discredit those types of games. So this is their golden age of gaming. They don't know anything before that. So I think, think about the first time you logged into World of Warcraft or EverQuest or Ultima Online and you were like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Dude, I talked in a Discord earlier with a Gen Zer. And he's like, dude, I just saw Beetlejuice for the first time because my girlfriend wants to go see the new one. It was a good movie. Oh, God, I felt so old. He'd never seen Beetlejuice. He didn't even know what the movie was even about. Oh, God.
That's what they're going to experience for the first time logging into Ashes. I won't have that feeling. Right? I've experienced it 10 times over. Like, I'm not going to get blown away by Ashes of Creation anymore. Like, I'm excited to play it, but I'm not going to walk in there and I'm going to get butterflies and be like, oh, wow, big, giant virtual world. Like, that time for me is past. But there's some 10, 12, 13-year-old kid who's going to be feeling that. And I'm super excited for them. So I don't think we have to worry about getting them involved. I think through social media, their favorite streamers, I think it's already going to happen.
This one's
that was like, I mean, Royer just was preaching at that point. I mean, honestly, like there was a reason why WoW was a phenomenon. And I remember so many kids, like, because I was playing WoW in my 20s, like early 20s. And I would hear of like 13-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 10-year-olds. Like one of my buddies that was like 30 at the time when I was like in like 21, his 10-year-old was playing with him. Like we were all playing Burning Crusade together. Like it was crazy. And it's like, again, I couldn't like introducing a 10-year-old to a game like World of Warcraft back in like 2006 is going to feel just as all inspiring and all encompassing as like a 13-year-old probably going to play Ashes of Creation in 2027, because they're going to look at what is currently out there and be like, this feels so different compared to everything else. And I think that in itself is just going to be, hopefully it'll cause, people to really stick around. That's what I personally hope. Guaranteed my students will be interested in Ashes. Oh yeah. Again, because they're going to have, everybody has their favorite streamer. And I know a lot of these streamers are going to play Ashes 100%.
Tricky because all of my kids are already really interested in Ashes of Creation.
I can imagine.
And I don't think
Shocker.
Ashes purposefully did anything to try and cater to that audience. They just see us being hyped about it, so they're hyped about it too. It's gonna sound bad, but I feel like outside of my kids, though, the average, for example, my oldest, who's 10, the average 10-year-old, they like a lot of those games that are just really like quick, rewarding, like give me the dopamine kind of games. And Ashes isn't going to be like that. You're going to get that big dopamine reward, but you have to really, really grind and work for it. And I think the attention span with a lot of kids just in general they're not quite going to have it, and the attention may fall off, which you never know. Like there's kids of all types, and there's plenty that are going to be into that and like the challenge. I know I was like that when I was a kid, but every single game was grindy like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and neither do I think we should know, because I don't know if Ashes necessarily needs to try and cater to that generation if they're looking for those quick rewards.
So my oldest is 9, and I think the data on the attention span with kids now, a lot of those studies were designed to give the answer, yes, the attention span is decreasing so much, and to be a little bit shocking, to make headlines. Human evolution is extremely slow. It's like, it's not, millions of years is what we're talking. And so I can understand it, nature versus nurture, right? And with the nurture elements of it, the kids today grow up in a different environment than we did. But our parents' generation,
microwave generation.
So our parents' generation and then their parents' generation, they were told not to listen to stereo radio because they said it would screw up your brain listening to sound coming from the same sound coming from two different directions.
Oh my God.
Interesting. And I would be surprised if the same neurochemical pathways that hooked us on the long, grinded out, but then huge reward at the end, I would be surprised if the young kids don't take to that.
Honestly, if it's a quality game and it works, I feel like people flock to it. You look at like Elden Ring, for example. Those types of games, they normally are a very niche type of game. People don't want to spend that much time and that much frustration on a video game, or at least the majority of the audience. But Elden Ring,
it's because even though Gen Zers have, people say they have like this attention span, you tell a Gen Zer you suck at this game and you will see how hard they will try to prove you wrong. And again, I think I was like that even at my age. Like I remember my older sister, when we were playing Super Mario 3, she told me, she's like, hey, you're not going to be able to play this game. Who the hell are you to tell me I can't play this game? I got amazingly good at Super Mario 3 to the point where I beat it before she did. So all I'm saying is that even though, yes, you can call it the TikTok generation, instant gratification generation to a lot of points, I think some of those are valid. But I think there's also when there is purpose involved. And again, I think that's what a lot of games fail to do is the purpose. There was a purpose in Elden Ring because they saw difficulty and people rose up in that difficulty to accomplish the mission. And that's what I think Gen Zers, are probably going to feel with Ashes. There's going to be this thing inside that's going to get inside them to make them try and earn. Let me see Richie Genesis represent. Yeah. Isn't he an officer in Genesis? Dude, what was Rife thinking making Richie an officer? Jesus. Gen Z are curious cats? Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Brain was such a polished, well-done game that it blew up. So I think if Ashes of Creation is in the same type of deal where it's this polished, really well-done MMO, I think everybody's going to flock.
Oh, are you watching a video, thank God, or are you hanging with these fashionistas? We're watching a video.
To it. I don't think it's going to matter if it's people like us who've been waiting 15, 20 years or people who are just discovering MMOs today.
Because Gen Z and Gen Alpha haven't. I mean, what's a good MMO release in the past 10 years?
Good? I wouldn't say there is any. I mean, the biggest one would probably be New World, and then you have Throne and Liberty coming up. But they're dead in the water right now. Well, New World is. So it's
Lost Ark is dead too.
Played that, but I don't.
Lost Ark is dead. New World is dead. There hasn't again. This is why all of the current MMORPGs are ones that have been out for 15, 20 years. That because it's like the old faithfuls, right? It's the home you can't even abandon because where are you going to go?
I don't think they really got that true MMO experience where I would have 10, 15 years ago playing Wrath of the Lich King.
Do you think Ashes will have any kind of cultural phenomenon?
I think it depends on how the marketing for one. So I'm a firm believer that if you remember with World of Warcraft, you bought the game or you bought an expansion inside the
Congo Konjitsu. Thank you so much for the follow, dude. Thank you, and welcome. Dead is figurative. I just mean dead as far as numbers. Like New World has less than I think 3,000 concurrent players playing on Steam right now. That's wild. And then I think Lost Ark had less than 5,000 people playing on Steam. That's wild. So, I mean, most people, when we talk about MMORPGs, we're talking hundreds of thousands of players, if not millions. So just seeing just a couple of thousand people, that seems pretty dead in retrospect to the other numbers.
The box.
Yeah, New World is dead.
Three
It's just
7-day free trials to give to friends.
Yeah.
You go and buy the physical card for 30 days game time. You have 3 more 7-day free trials to give to friends. And I think that is it's like that generation's referral link in a sense.
Yeah, but remember in the days when we didn't pay attention to Steam charts or player counts, and we just enjoyed the games we played? Yeah, and again, there's actually people that are still playing New World right now and enjoying the game. I'm not calling a game dead isn't being negative. It's just saying that it doesn't have the player base. And I'm pretty sure if you were to ask those same streamers or people that enjoy New World now would say the same thing. You know what I mean? Is New World dead isn't saying New World is bad. It just means that the player base it's a ghost town, right? So, and I'm saying ghost town in comparison to these other MMORPGs that have hundreds of thousands of players. If you're on a server on New World, it could feel very lively because again, that's where probably all of the people that are currently playing are all playing on that server now, right? So, but again, the only reason why New World is not shut down yet is because New World is done by Amazon, which Amazon owns their servers. I can guarantee you if some other North American gaming company made New World, it would have shut down a year ago. 100%. Or it'd be shutting down today. It just, the only reason why New World is still thriving is because it's because they're owned by Amazon.
And so I think it's getting people to push the game and be like, hey, try out this game with me. I got 7 days on it. And I think that's really what helped get the momentum of World of Warcraft going. Because it's not, people weren't jumping in being like, oh, I have to pay $15 for this thing. It was, I can try this for 7 days for free. I can see if it's meant for me in that amount of time and then make my decision based off that. And I think that, I personally believe that played a huge part in WoW's success in that era.
I think it comes down to these.
I don't know what you could do in this instance, Burns, for no one else. But as I see Bob Ross paint, I don't even hear what no one else is even talking about. Because I'm just looking at, I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool, Bob Ross. Like, and I get so distracted with Bob Ross that I'm like, I'm not hearing freaking no. I have to almost like shut my eyes and just listen to no one. Hold on. Let me go back.
Rounds ahead of whatever they're currently playing, and so they're like, no, this is cool, but I still want my comfort zone, and I still want my comfort zone of this. And
I kind of disagree with that. I mean, because I think if New World did actually do something new and innovative, and it wasn't a junky mess and hollow of a game as it launched as, like, I think people would have completely abandoned their game to play New World. But New World was just new for all of the month, and then once people got up to endgame and realized it was just chest runs, like, they just went back to their previous MMO because it didn't meet any expectation. The only expectation it met was, it's a new MMO. That's it. That was our expectation. I'm playing a new MMO. But new wears off insanely quickly. So Lost Ark held longevity for a long time because it had, I think, almost 3 years worth of content to pull from, right? Because it was a port over, basically. But now that the content's dried up, look at where their player base is now. But I believe that Lost Ark, not being the buggy mess the New World was, faced other issues, which was botting, RMTing, pay to win. And I just think the vast majority of people don't want to play a game where it feels cheapened to just buy this secondary currency from real money. I think that honestly is just what people don't want. Goal is to get Intrepid devs on a season. Dude, yeah. And I honestly feel like if you, like, once we get into Alpha 2 Burns, I think you'll definitely be able to swing that 100%.
and this.
See, and I agree with that too. Because I actually met and know of a lot of Gen Zers that played Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 is a freaking turn-based game. It is not this high-octane, action-based game that everyone likes to think Gen Zers are all about. Again, Gen Zers love action, don't get me wrong, but they just want to play a good fucking game. And the Gen Zers that I've talked to want Ashes to feel a little bit more action, but they're fine with tab. Because again, you look at the vast majority of MMOs out there, most of them are all tab. So again, like I don't want to paint Gen Zers in this sense of like, oh, you know, they're only playing games like Fortnite and League of Legends. You know, there's a lot of people in the Gen Z generation that played even games like Baldur's Gate 3. You know, so let me see. Baldur's Gate 3 has a gay vampire. How much more Gen Z can you get? Well, again, I'm talking more lens like what no one else is talking about, which is the gameplay, right? The feel. And most people think like, oh, you know, Ashes of Creation is going to be more tab or whatever, so Gen Zers aren't going to like it. It's like, bro, if a Gen Zer can play Baldur's Gate 3, I'm pretty sure they can play Ashes of Creation. Again, as long as it has meat. Because again, New World, very slim. There was nothing on the bones. And it took years for it to even get some meat on its bones, which even now there's people that still say it's not, there's not much to the game, right? It's very still like very one-dimensional in a lot of aspects. And this is why Ashes of Creation, this is why I've always said three or 4 years, because there are so many systems that are very deep and intricate that it's going to require time to get these systems correct. It just is. For them to say that, because I know Asmongold, like if you're playing any caster in World of Warcraft, you can't move and cast. The only range that does that is the hunter. If you're playing a warlock, you playing a mage, you playing any kind of a caster, you're planted on the fucking floor. I know this because I'm currently playing a frost mage, an elemental shaman, in the War Within right now. So it's just so weird how, like, especially Asmongold, like if he did say something like that, like your current game still does this today. So I don't know. Yes, you do have some instant cast, and I think as a mage, like I can actually be very mobile in the sense of my procs, but there is still I have to hard cast Frostbolt. I have to hard cast my Glacial Spike. I can't do anything unless I have procs. So all I'm saying is that I think if you're looking at the lens of like what new MMOs, and this is why I'm actually really excited, because when I saw the Mage in Ashes, you can actually cast and walk. Like, I think that's better than just being planted on the floor. Like, coming from World of Warcraft, like as a mage, if I can slightly move and do my Chain Lightning, or slightly move and do my fire or fire/frostbolt, that's freaking awesome. That's a huge improvement for me as a WoW player, because I go to any other game and I can't do that. Or I go to any other caster in WoW and I can't do that.
Currently, with how the community is structured.
Actually, Gen Z TikTok clips, and let's let Zillion do those. And then Gen Alpha pay-to-win microtransactions, because that's the world that they grew up in. I'm kidding, of course. I hate pay-to-win, so.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, but you bring up a really good point, because so many of the games, especially any MMOs that are available right now, all have pay to win in them.
Mm-hmm.
Like World of Warcraft, I don't care what people say, the WoW token is pay to win. Every MMO now
100%.
is pay to win. At New World, not a very good MMO, not a great MMO, but at least to their credit, not pay to win. But pretty much every other MMO in our universe right now is pay to win. So yeah,
I'm still amazed that New World isn't pay to win. I was also thinking about that the other day. I'm like, wow, the game didn't really turn out the way I wanted it to. But man, we got to give props to Amazon here for no pay to win. And it's still, I don't think it still doesn't have.
And even with no pay to win, they don't have a game. Imagine if they had pay to win. I would really wonder if the player base actually went down or actually goes up if they said, hey, we're going to introduce like this secondary currency and you can like exchange this currency to get like upgrade gear and do all this stuff. Like, I'm very curious, like, especially with how low New World's numbers are, if it would actually completely lose faith in the game, or if there'd be people that'd be like, I can try New World out, pay some money, and actually be able to get into the end game faster. I don't know. I really don't know. It'd be interesting.
Pay to win microtransactions?
So there is a seasonal thing you can do, and there is a little bit of an advantage you get from doing this season. I think there's some small amount of something you get, so slightly, but really not much at all. I mean, you got to hand it to them. Yeah, they didn't go pay to win, and the price of the game is just the $40 plus now whatever the Rise of the Angry Earth expansion price is. So I mean, dollars to what
$80?
you're getting,
because I think that's
is
$40
decent,
too.
right? The thing is, I think as MMO players, we have that expectation of a certain level of content.
Yes.
And New World just didn't have that. I happily would have paid $15 a month, or I mean, maybe even a little more, if they had more content rolling out. But
right,
yeah.
but they didn't.
What do you think about that?
I would, any day of the week, I'd rather spend more money on the box price or the monthly subscription rather than having anything that's pay to win. I think, you know, I guess the problem is the monthly sub, especially these days. You know, people bring up the point of it would be too expensive and it wouldn't look good, because $15 back in the World of Warcraft days and vanilla WoW, nowadays that'd be a lot more. I don't know what it would equate to.
I did the math.
So it'd be hard.
Jesus.
It'd be hard to charge that as a monthly sub, but I would rather do that myself. If I'm putting the time into an MMO and I really like it, I don't care. I'll pay a monthly sub. I don't care if it's 30, 40, 50 bucks, because the time that you can get out of that is actually is potentially incredible. So
yeah, seriously. I mean, you think about, you know, the money you spend on your gear, your computer and all that stuff, bro, $15 a month. That's nothing to, yeah. The problem is we have great computers now, and we have for all intents and purposes, no fantastic MMOs to play, right? Nothing. We're all in hibernation right now, waiting for a good MMO to play.
Yeah, that's why I've been kind of out of the scene for a while. It's because it used to be my favorite genre, and I kind of just veered away from it. And I'm hoping that Ashes will bring me back to it.
I think that's going to be the case with the kids, right? Like, I mean, I know my son's going to play Ashes because he's my son, and I've got the laptop set up back there, and he's going to sit behind back there, and he'll be chopping down trees and stuff for me. But the younger generation hasn't had a good MMO release in a long time. I mean, more than a decade at this point, and so a lot of kids don't even know what MMOs are. That they're unfamiliar with the term. They know survival games, which is kind of the default. It seems like that's kind of the default fallback for a lot of MMO players, is playing survival games, but they haven't had a good MMO release. My guess is that there's going to be a whole new wave of MMO addiction when Ashes comes out with the kids.
That would be so cool to see. I would hope to see that. Because, yeah, I think you're right. Like, what do kids play these days in terms of MMOs? What do 14, 15-year-olds, 12-year-olds play?
Not really.
Something on their phone that has MMO elements to it. I don't know.
The neurochemical pathways that hook us, that addict us to MMOs, the things that you and I experienced when we were 15, 16, playing World of Warcraft, playing vanilla back in the day, those are still there. The evolution is incredibly...
See, that's why I got so addicted to Halo, because I was 15, 16 when I got into Halo, like really playing Halo like 12 hours a day sometimes, if not longer. Like, my weekends would comprise of me waking up, going on Xbox Live, playing Halo 2 at that point, and just playing all fucking weekend. Like, so that's probably why my fucking addiction was just at its all-time high.
Slow. The serotonin and oxytocin, dopamine receptors have been programmed in us over millennia. It's not like they just, kids have shorter attention spans these days, they're not going to like MMOs. There's a little bit of change that we can undergo, but man, my guess is these kids are going to experience the reward pathways again that we experienced back in the day from good MMOs, and they're going to get hooked.
I hope that's the case. What does your son like about Ashes, if you don't mind sharing?
He doesn't know much about it yet. So we play Fortnite every now and then together, and I explained to him, I was like, he asked me a little bit about Ashes, and I said, so picture it's Fortnite, you drop onto the island, but when you die, you just respawn on the island and you can be there all the time. And his eyes got big. He's like, really? And I was like, we might be opening up Pandora's box for him. So I'm going to have like very strict time limits on it and stuff, because I think it's setting up to be really good, especially for the kids.
Actually, now that you bring that up, I don't know if I want Gen Alpha getting into it. Because at that young of an age, you probably don't want to get addicted to MMOs. I mean, I was, but I mean, it can lead to bad places too. So
you turned out all right. Look at this.
I mean, I guess I have my moments. So,
I think video games generally aren't necessarily bad things. They can be, but done right, I think they can. And the studies have borne this out, that they can actually help make you smarter, right? They're protective against Alzheimer's too. I think there are some actual benefits. You just have to have the self-control to not go full degen with it.
Yeah, I think that's probably where good parenting probably comes into play, for sure. Because it's very hard to not. I remember when I played World of Warcraft when I was like 15. Like, man, that was the only thing I cared about in life. Get off the school bus, sprint home, right on the computer, just all day and night. My mother would wake up at 5 a.m, and I would, like 10 minutes before that, I'd run up to my bed and act like I was sleeping. And then right when she left for work, come right back down and resume that 9-hour Alterac Valley session.
I know that feeling.
Although I tell you what, I learned some valuable time management lessons because I wanted to maximize my time in game, right? So I would learn how to do things quicker and more efficiently. Like, I would crank through my homework. I learned how to do chores faster and stuff, because if I did it quicker, then I got more WoW time. I got more computer time, whatever. And now with my work when the ER, two cars hit each other and we have a million traumas and a bunch of CTs to run through and MRIs. I have to be able to prioritize things and go through them quickly because management decisions are made based off of that. And it sounds stupid, but video games have helped me learn how to prioritize and go through things quickly in order to help these people.
Yeah, I like that. I like that perspective. That's pretty interesting. And I don't think video games were a negative on my life either. I'm just kind of poking fun at the idea. I think video games are probably good too, even MMOs, because I think a lot of kids that would otherwise, do other things that aren't that great, they might, turn to an MMO or something like that, which would be a better alternative. You got the socialization, like you said, it can make you smarter too. You're doing things that you wouldn't do if you're especially if you're like an antisocial kid. Like if you play an MMO, you probably have a lot more confidence to engage with things, engage with people. And if you don't have that, you're just going to, sit in your room all day and not talk to anybody. So
right.
I agree.
Yeah, man. And there's going to be a bunch of like teenagers doing raids with, and guys a lot older than us too. I mean, my audience, I do pretty much Shirley Ash's content. My audience is pretty old. I got some people in the 55 plus category. And it's going to be fascinating. Well, that's one of the things I love so much about gaming, right? Is especially MMOs and competitive MMOs, how it brings together this wide swath of the population that have a common goal. And it's fun to
I think out of my YouTube subscribers, 91% of them are between the ages of 30 to 40. Like, I think I have slivers of 29 below and 41 and up. But I think the vast majority, and I think that's, again, because I think this is Steven is literally catering to this specific kind of generation. But I think also he's just trying to make a game that we understand and are appealed to, but also I think the other generations are also going to enjoy that as well. Imagine Ashes started to bring rappers and singers like Fortnite did. Nah, Ashes do not cater to young audience in any shape or form. First and foremost, there is no cute characters, very niche. Dude, there is going to be some really attractive female characters. So there are going to be some cute characters. Now, if you mean cute in the sense of like cutesy poo, then I can probably agree. But I think there's going to be some very sexy looking female characters for sure.
see the interplay between that and the interaction between those people.
Yeah, that's so cool. I remember like a couple 40-year-old guys when I played World of Warcraft when I was 15, and now I'm 35. To think that I'm going to be on the other end of that now, with some 15-year-old kids.
Dude,
coming into the
Wolf
guild
is 35. Bro, I thought he was like 30. He doesn't even look 30. He doesn't even look 30. I thought he was 30. Oh my God, dude. He looks great.
I think that's pretty
Jesus
cool.
Christ.
I'm pretty excited for that, to have everybody come together.
Dude, Black Sabbath, thank you so much for the
like
sub, dude. Thank you.
What do you think? Will Gen
Very much
Z and
appreciate
Gen
it.
Alpha pick up Ashes? Let me know in the comments. Stay tuned for scenes from next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Is the scope of Ashes too ambitious? Will Intrepid be able to deliver everything they've said?
It's beyond Steven to say, okay, we just can't do it. We're going to launch the game with what we got.
We planned it to be massive from the start, which might make some people feel better.
They've stayed pretty on point with most of what they've said they're going to do.
You always look at ambition versus time spent developing.
Even if it doesn't turn out to be what they're saying it's going to be, I think it still has a chance of being an amazing game.
As of this moment, from what they've showed us, I think they are...
Oh my God, bro. I can't wait for next week's episode. Oh my God. I'm sure the vast majority of you guys have already seen it, but if you haven't even subscribed to my boy, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. He makes amazing content for Ashes of Creation. Hit the like button. It helps pump out that video to more and more people. I also, guys, and I didn't even really mention this in the beginning, right? So you guys are like my hardcore followers, the people that really like my content, and I really appreciate that. So with that being said, I finally, if you're in my Discord, then you may have saw that in my message, but the 1v1 with Steven is going to be soon. How soon? I don't know. But Margaret, she reached out. We're hammering out details. But yes, it is going to happen 100%. So I have to get my list of questions that I need to ask Steven, and I want to get that to her ASAP. Okay. So I'm probably going to go live again this sometime this weekend, maybe on Sunday, because I want to get the questions that I've already have and see, are these questions still worth asking now, knowing a lot of the information, now knowing like the different phases and stuff like that. So, but yes, I am so freaking excited. Like, now that it's like, I know, like, it's for sure. Like, man, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready. So guys, if you want to join my Discord, because I'm pretty sure you guys probably have questions you would like to ask Steven. I want to have at least 75 questions on this Google Doc that I'm going to send Margaret. Because if I can talk to Steven for an hour, I'm going to be as efficient as I can with that time. And again, most podcasts, if he's enjoying himself, if everything's cool, if he's, doesn't feel like it's, he usually goes longer than an hour. So I thought she meant PvP. No, my podcast, my 1v1 podcast, it'll be me, Vlhadus Gaming, and our boy Steven Sharif, right? So if there is any questions that you would want to know about Ashes of Creation or about Steven himself, go into my Discord. There is a general chat. Go into that general chat and then just put Steven question and then leave me your question that you want for Steven. I'm going to go through them. I'm going to have a list of questions from you guys. I'm going to have my own questions. But yes, I want to try to get this done by sometime next week. So I really want to try to, this weekend during my, free time and stuff like that, I want to really get as many questions as we can, right? So if you're interested about certain classes, you have a class question, you have a profession question, you have a world question, I'm going to say this right now. Any lore-based questions, I am not going to ask Steven, because I don't really want him to spoil lore, even if he can, but lore, just no lore questions. I just think there's other more predominant questions that we'd be asking Steven at this point. So if you want to join my Discord, join my Discord. If you don't want to join my Discord, that's fine, but you can always private message me. If you want to private message me a Steven question. But I get pinged a lot by a whole lot of different people. So it's hard for me to get all these, single messages down, I will try my best. So if you don't want to get lost in the shuffle and I can have everything down, it'll be in my Discord. Okay. But I am going to go ahead and end the stream here because I'm going to go help my wife with stuff. Nusi, is that next Tuesday? Is what next Tuesday? Steven's health check? Is Steven having a health check? I don't know. I know the live stream for September is probably going to be, I'm just going to say the 30th, personally. I mean, it could be the 27th, which is the final Friday of this month. But Monday, the 30th, I mean, right now I feel like they've just been trying to push everything to like the last day of the month. So we'll see that's probably going to be it there. Yes, guys, thank you all so much for sticking with it. I don't know when the 1v1 is going to be. So again, as me and Margaret, once I get her my doc and then she reviews it and all the questions are good, I'm pretty sure I'm expecting, I think I'm hopefully expecting an answer sometime, maybe at the end of the month. I don't know. I just want to say there's nothing, no date that I can officially say yes or yet, but she reassured me that I will have a conversation with Steven, and that's all I needed. Thank God. I cannot wait. I really want to make this 1v1 as, I don't know, just something. Is it going to be before Alpha 2? I don't know. It could be in November. I really don't know. Like, until Margaret gives me a date, then, and she says I can say this date, then I will give you a date, but I don't know. So I was just reassured. And I think that's really for me, because it's been, the last time we were talking about this was back in June. So I was just like, okay, you know? So, but yes. So if you want to leave a question in my Discord. If you want to private message me, you can private message me. Is there anybody currently streaming right now in the Ashes category? Excuse me. Oh my God. We have Jamie streaming on a Friday. Excuse me. All right. We'll go ahead and raid him because I know he wants to make partner, so let's go ahead and give him more than what he needs. But guys, you guys have a great night. I'll see you guys probably sometime this weekend. So just, again, if you're not following me on Twitch, hit that follow button. If you're subscribed to me on YouTube, awesome. Thank you. If you're not, hit that subscribe button. It'll always keep you up to date when I go live. Not random like this, because I usually go live on Fridays at 7 p.m. But I do go live randomly, in the other times as well. So guys, have a great time with Jamie. Send him my regards, and I will see you guys next time. Later, guys.